Beloved chosen one, when your eyes opened this morning, heaven noticed. The very moment light brushed across your face, the realm of angels recognized movement in the earth, not just another soul waking up, but a soldier of faith rising again. You didn't realize it, but your simple act of opening your eyes was a statement: I am still here, and my faith still stands. Heaven took note. The darkness that hovered through the night hoped to see you buried beneath weariness, despair, or doubt. But instead, you rose. You pushed back the weight of unseen battles and stepped into this new day. That, chosen one, is what unshakable faith looks like. Not loud words or dramatic gestures, but quiet defiance in the face of unseen opposition. The world doesn't see the warfare you fought just to get up. The pillow may have been soaked in tears no one will ever know about. The silence you faced felt heavy, like stone pressing against your chest. But in that silence, your endurance echoed louder than any sermon. You passed a divine test this morning, the test of standing when it would have been easier to fall. Heaven celebrated it. The angels took record. The Father whispered, "My child still believes," because faith is not proven by miracles seen, but by obedience chosen in unseen moments. You didn't need thunder from heaven to prove your faith. You simply rose. And in that rising, your name was spoken in the courts of eternity. You may not have noticed, but light followed you differently today. The air carried a subtle shift because your obedience sent ripples through the atmosphere. You chose hope again. You believed again. You moved again. God saw you. He saw your shaking hands preparing for another day. Your heavy heart still lifting prayers. Your tired eyes still expecting His promise. And because of that, He marks you today as unshakable. Heaven is speaking to you right now, confirming what was witnessed at sunrise. Your faith survived another night. That is not coincidence. That is divine evidence that your purpose has not expired. There was a moment, long before dawn, when heaven debated whether you would still choose light after so much shadow. Yet, you did. That single choice became the testimony that rippled through eternity, proving once again that your heart still burns for God. And now the Father leans closer, whispering promises meant only for those who endure. He says, "Because you believed through the silence, I will reward you openly. Because you trusted me unseen, I will raise you before kings and nations." According to what is revealed in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5, weeping may stay for the night, but joy rises with the morning light returning after darkness. That verse was not written as poetry. It was written as prophecy, one you fulfilled this morning. Your tears didn't disqualify you. They watered the ground of your faith. And when you opened your eyes, the joy that came was not mere emotion, but heaven's declaration: you made it through. The darkness saw your pain, but it could not steal your purpose. The enemy heard your sighs, but could not silence your spirit. You rose, and that single act caused tremors in hell. Every time you choose to rise, the plans of darkness collapse a little more. Beloved, you didn't just wake up, you were summoned. Heaven called your name because your assignment continues. Your heart still beats with divine timing, and your breath still carries the authority of one sent by God. When you walk through your day, realize that every step you take is holy ground. You carry light where others only see routine. You carry presence where others only see people. You are a vessel of endurance, a testimony wrapped in human skin, a living sermon of grace. Do not underestimate what your rising means. The world around you might treat this morning like any other, but heaven celebrates it as proof that prophecy is still alive. And hear this truth: your small beginnings hold great power. Every unseen act of faith is recorded as eternal evidence. Heaven does not celebrate the ones who never fell. Heaven crowns the ones who fell and still chose to rise. So, breathe deeply. Chosen one, this morning, God smiled upon your decision to keep going. You may not hear applause, but all of heaven resounded with it. You are the living proof that joy comes after the night. Now, before you move on, pause and honor what just happened in your spirit. Like this message, if it resonates within you, share it with someone you know is fighting the same silent battles. Comment below the number 111 as your prophetic declaration that your joy has come: one faith, one spirit, one dawn of victory. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, so this flow of divine truth continues to reach you daily. You rose today, and heaven noticed. That alone makes this morning sacred. You didn't realize it. Chosen one. But the test you passed was silent. It came without warning, without angels announcing it, without anyone knowing it was happening. It arrived quietly, wrapped in fatigue, in frustration, in moments when you wondered if your prayers still mattered. It wasn't a test of knowledge or strength, it was a test of endurance. And this morning, when you rose, heaven saw the verdict you endured. There are trials so subtle that even you don't see them. They don't come with lightning or storms, but with stillness, where God seems distant. And you must decide whether to keep believing anyway. That's the kind of test you faced. You weren't asked to perform miracles or shout praises in the crowd. You were asked to keep trusting in silence. Faith is rarely loud. True faith doesn't need to prove itself. It remains when there is no evidence, no applause, no confirmation. And that is what you showed heaven today. You proved that your love for God isn't conditional. You proved that your faith isn't rented, it's rooted. There were moments when the weight of confusion almost crushed you. You prayed and heard nothing. You cried and felt no immediate relief. Yet you stayed. You didn't abandon hope. You waited. And that waiting was your offering. God saw that. He recorded that. In the unseen realm, silence itself became your altar. The silent test is the hardest, because it doesn't come with visible reward. You wake up and carry on, not realizing heaven is applauding you. You walk through routine days unaware that they are holy battlegrounds. But now, hear this: every moment you chose patience over panic, trust over terror, and worship over worry. Those were your victories. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 7, "Blessed is the one who trusts the Lord. His confidence rests in him alone, secure and steady in every season." Those ancient words were written for people like you, the ones who keep trusting when everything around them says stop. You are blessed, not because life is easy, but because your heart refuses to surrender its hope. Even when you felt empty, your trust was still full. Even when you didn't see the way forward, you believed there must be one. Heaven doesn't overlook such quiet strength. The Lord watches the hearts that keep beating for him when no one else notices. He takes delight in the souls that keep walking through shadowed valleys with eyes fixed on light. You may think your faith is small, but small faith in a great God moves mountains unseen. You've been walking through a sacred classroom, one designed to reveal what's inside you when everything external fades away. The lessons are hidden in your daily struggles: patience, humility, endurance, trust. The silent test refines you into the person heaven always saw within you. Sometimes you wonder why God allows the silence to stretch so long, but silence is not absence, it is strategy. It purifies your motives. It exposes whether you serve for comfort or out of covenant. You are being shaped to carry glory, and glory cannot rest on unstable foundations. That's why the shaking came to reveal what cannot be shaken. Every time you faced stillness and chose faith, you strengthened your spiritual spine. You are not the same person you were before the trial began. You have grown into someone who knows the difference between emotion and conviction. You have learned that faith doesn't always feel strong, but it remains unbroken. God has been watching, not to test your worth, but to reveal it. He trusted you with silence because he knew you would not break. You were chosen for the unseen test because your soul was designed to endure it. You may have looked around, wondering why others seem to have easier paths. But those with greater destinies often face quieter battles. The louder the calling, the more silent the proving. Heaven knows that what you have passed through prepared you to carry greater things without losing humility. And now, something is shifting. The season of silent testing has accomplished its work. You will begin to sense divine movement again, not because you demanded signs, but because your faith made space for them. Your endurance has opened new doors. You are stepping into a phase where what was once hidden will begin to manifest. Do not forget this truth. Chosen one, you were never forgotten. The quiet seasons were never punishment, they were preservation. God was protecting you from premature exposure, building your strength for the weight of His promise. So, when you walk today, walk with reverence. The silent test you passed is your unseen crown. Others may not know what it cost you to stand, but heaven does. Every unanswered prayer, every unseen tear, every uncelebrated act of faith, all of it became a fragrance before the throne. You proved your loyalty in the dark, and now God will trust you with the light. You proved your patience in obscurity, and now destiny begins to unfold in visibility. The silent test was the key that unlocked the next door. Rest assured your waiting was never wasted. It built something eternal inside you. It shaped you into one whose faith no storm can destroy. The silence was never empty, it was holy. And you, chosen one, have passed through it with faith unbroken. In the unseen realms, chosen one, something extraordinary happened today. When you woke and carried your faith into another dawn, your name was not merely remembered, it was spoken. Angels, messengers of light, whispered your name with reverence because you became evidence that faith still lives on the earth. You may not have heard it, but heaven did. Your name echoed in the courts of glory, wrapped in light, surrounded by the fragrance of endurance. God Himself pointed toward you and said, "This one didn't give up." That moment became your heavenly announcement. You are not forgotten. You are celebrated. Every unseen act of obedience ripples beyond time. What you did in secret, choosing hope, choosing prayer, Choosing patience was amplified through eternity. Angels rejoiced. Because when one chosen vessel stands firm in faith, entire generations are strengthened by their example. You are part of a divine ripple effect that shakes the darkness and strengthens the light. You've likely wondered, does anyone see me? Does anyone care? Heaven answers you now, yes. We see. We care. We rejoice. What you think is small is sacred to God. He weighs every moment you choose righteousness. Every sigh that turns into prayer. Every tear that becomes intercession. Nothing goes unnoticed in the economy of heaven. There was a meeting in the spirit realm concerning you. Darkness tried to accuse you, claim you were too weary, too flawed, too uncertain to stand firm. But God silenced every accusation with your obedience. He said, look at them, they still rise. They still trust. They still believe. And when the King speaks, every opposing voice must fall silent. The enemy cannot comprehend the kind of strength you carry. You are wrapped in grace that cannot be measured. You have passed through storms designed to break you. Yet you still sing in fragments of hope. That sound, the melody of your endurance, is what causes angels to bow their heads in awe. You are living proof that faith remains undefeated. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Hebrews, chapter 6, verse 10, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. Heaven remembers your love. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment you carried someone else's burden while still fighting your own. Those are the treasures stored in the divine record. God has not forgotten your labor. You are not unseen. You are not overlooked. There are angels assigned to record faith. And today, they wrote your name again. You were counted among those who refused to bow to despair. You were seen lifting your hands when no music played. You were found praying when no one was watching. That is how heaven measures greatness, not by applause, but by endurance. Beloved, your faith has become a weapon. Your consistency has become your crown. You do not realize how your quiet strength intimidates darkness. Each morning you choose to stand is another defeat for the enemy. Your persistence preaches louder than words. Your faith speaks even when your lips are silent. Heaven sees not only your endurance but also your heart, the tenderness behind your strength. You are not hardened by trials, you are refined by them. You still believe in love, in mercy, in miracles. You still believe that God can redeem what was lost. That hope shining in you is divine fire. When angels spoke your name, they did so with awe, not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. And faithfulness is the rarest jewel in creation. God treasures it above all else. That's why your endurance matters. It is the fragrance heaven cannot resist. So, pause for a moment and let this truth sink deep. You are celebrated in realms unseen. The tests you thought broke, you actually introduced you to the strength within you. Heaven calls you steadfast. Heaven calls you faithful. Heaven calls you mine. And now, as heaven's witness, you are invited to declare your identity on earth to echo what the angels have already spoken above. Write it below as an act of alignment, as a seal of faith that your endurance is not wasted. Comment, I stand firm. Write those 3 words, because they are not just a statement, they are a decree. When you declare it, you align your voice with heaven's record. You remind the darkness that no matter what comes, You will not bend. You will not bow. You will not break. Those words create movement in the spirit realm. They reaffirm your covenant with endurance. Say it not as mere affirmation but as identity. You are one who stands. You are one who holds the line when others retreat. You are the living testimony of what grace can build in fragile flesh. Even now, as you read this, heaven nods in agreement. The same angels who whispered your name this morning now stand witness as you affirm your place in the divine story. You are not finished. You are being fortified. Let today be remembered not as another day of survival, but as the day heaven celebrated your faith. You are part of something eternal, an unbroken chain of believers who stand, generation after generation, carrying light through darkness. Chosen one. Heaven spoke your name today. Let earth hear it through your strength. Chosen one. The darkness expected your silence to become surrender. It thought that if it pressed long enough, your light would flicker and fade. But instead, your faith shook the very foundations of the unseen world. Your persistence sent tremors through shadows that once surrounded you. You may not have felt it, but heaven witnessed it. Your resistance became an earthquake in the spirit. There is something about quiet endurance that terrifies darkness. The enemy understands noise, chaos, and fear, but he cannot comprehend peace in the middle of pain. When you refused to collapse beneath the weight, when you whispered, "God, I still trust you," something broke. A chain snapped. A curse lost its grip. The unseen world shifted because faith cannot be contained by pressure. You didn't just survive your battles, you disarmed them. Every tear you shed in surrender, every sigh lifted toward heaven, was a weapon. Darkness feeds on despair, but faith starves it. The moment you chose not to quit, the war turned in your favor. Understand this truth deeply. Every trial you've walked through has exposed the weakness of the enemy's power. You discovered that the same storm meant to drown you actually revealed how strong your anchor truly is. Faith doesn't remove storms, it teaches you to walk on water through them. The darkness tried to make you forget who you are. It whispered that your prayers were wasted, that your hope was foolish. But even when you doubted, something inside you kept holding on. That something wasn't stubbornness, it was divine DNA. You are built from God's breath, designed to endure, programmed to overcome. That's why the attacks were relentless. Your existence threatens hell's illusion of control. Heaven watches as your spirit rises again and again. You may feel small, but your faith echoes louder than thunder. Each time you forgive, light bursts forth. Each time you choose love over bitterness, another demonic chain shatters. You are not only surviving darkness, you are dismantling it piece by piece. The Apostle Paul wrote words that breathe truth into this moment. According to what is revealed in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 8, we are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. Those words carry the heartbeat of every warrior of faith. You may be pressed, yes. You may be weary, but you are not crushed. You are not abandoned. The pressure you feel is not the sign of defeat. It's the proof of purpose. Diamonds form under it. Oil flows because of it. Glory is birthed through it. You've walked through nights when the silence screamed louder than any storm. You faced seasons where God seemed distant, yet you kept walking toward Him anyway. That is faith in its purest form, trust without evidence. And it is that kind of faith that shakes the gates of hell. The enemy's greatest weapon has never been pain, it's distraction. But you, chosen one, have refused to let your pain distract you from your destiny. You turned wounds into worship, and that worship became warfare. Every hallelujah, whispered through tears, became a sword drawn against darkness. Faith doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's a trembling whisper that says, "I still believe." Sometimes it's a single step forward when you'd rather hide. And yet, every small act of faith carries eternal power. You have no idea how many storms your quiet strength has calmed, not only for yourself, but for those who watch you silently. Inspired by your endurance, you are teaching the world what real faith looks like. Not polished perfection, but sacred persistence. Not a life free from struggle, but a heart that refuses to stop trusting. That is what it means to walk in divine authority, to keep shining, even when it hurts. There are unseen victories unfolding because of you. Prayers you forgot you prayed are still working behind the curtain of time. God is weaving every trial into testimony, every delay into design. The pain that once confused you will soon become clarity. So, do not measure your faith by what you see. Heaven's measurements are different. Every breath of endurance, every unseen act of trust, is written as triumph in the scrolls of eternity. The darkness is trembling even now, not because of what you have yet to do, but because of what you already carry, light that cannot be hidden. You have proven that storms cannot drown a soul anchored in God. You have proven that faith, once planted, grows even in fire. You are walking proof that God's power is made perfect in weakness. Chosen one, your faith has already shaken darkness. What you thought was survival was actually warfare, and what looked like delay was divine strategy. Hold your head high. You are the earthquake in the spirit, unmovable, unbreakable, unstoppable. This morning was more than routine. Chosen one, it was prophetic. You thought you simply brewed coffee, got dressed, and began another day. But heaven was watching each detail as divine symbolism. Every movement you made carried meaning. Every small act whispered something sacred. You didn't just rise from your bed, you rose from ashes. When you looked into the mirror and decided to keep going, heaven saw resurrection. When you took that first step, God saw prophecy fulfilled in motion. You've been living a miracle disguised as ordinary life. And that, beloved, is the language of heaven, miracles dressed as mornings. Your routine is no longer routine. It is worship. It is warfare. It is witness. Every ordinary task becomes holy when done with faith. You are walking through the mundane, carrying eternal light. Even washing your hands, preparing a meal, or walking to work, all of it has become sacred choreography. Heavens dance through human motion. The prophet Isaiah once wrote of this rhythm of strength. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint." Those words are not ancient poetry. They are your present reality. You, too, are learning to soar. And when you rise like the eagle, others will look up and remember that flight is possible again. That's why your morning matters. Every faithful step you take becomes an example for those watching from below, still learning to trust their wings. Think of your life like a lighthouse on a fog-covered shore. You don't chase ships, you simply keep shining. You may never know how many lives your light guides safely home. That is what you are doing every time you choose to believe again, shining for those who are still lost in the mist. You are part of a living story, a divine poem written through endurance. Heaven uses your life as a metaphor, a message to others that faith doesn't fade in the dark. Every small victory you win sends ripples through the hearts of those connected to you. When you rise, they rise. When you keep going, they find courage. But even lighthouses need oil to keep burning. Every flame requires fuel. Every voice carrying God's word must be strengthened by others who believe in its purpose. That is how heaven multiplies light through unity, through shared giving, through people who say, "I will keep this fire alive." So, if this message has stirred something deep within you, if you felt your faith strengthened, your heart steadied, your spirit lifted, then let that same spirit move you to keep the flame burning. When you like this message, it's more than a click, it's like placing one more brick on the altar of encouragement for others. When you share it, you become a messenger yourself, letting someone else hear the same divine whisper that just found you. And when you subscribe, you're not just joining a channel, you're stepping into a community of light bearers, those who have chosen to keep faith alive in an age of distraction. You're saying, "Count me among the ones who still believe." And yes, if you feel led to donate, understand this, it isn't payment, it's participation. It's oil for the lamp, water for the seed. It's your way of saying, "I will help carry this light, Father." Every offering, no matter how small, becomes part of the divine circulation of grace. The same God who multiplies loaves and fishes multiplies every act of generosity to touch hearts you may never meet. Because this message, these words of life, are not meant to remain still. They're meant to flow, to reach others who are one breath away from giving up. You have the power to keep that flow alive. Beloved, you have walked through fire and come out as light. Now you stand as living proof that faith transforms everything it touches. You don't need to strive to be extraordinary. Your obedience already is. Your ordinary faith is extraordinary to heaven. Let this morning remain a reminder God saw your rising, and He called it victory. You are the sunrise in someone else's night, the echo of hope across someone else's valley. So keep shining, keep believing, keep sowing light wherever you walk. And if this message has reached your spirit, if something in these words feels like they were written just for you, then act as heaven's echo. Like the message. Share it with someone who needs light. Subscribe to keep your heart anchored in divine truth. And if your heart stirs, donate to keep the fire burning brighter. Because what you build with love, heaven multiplies with glory. You are not just hearing a message, you are part of its continuation. The morning you live today was prophetic. And your response now determines how far that prophecy travels. Rise, shine, and remember, you were never meant to burn alone. Heaven's records are not like earthly books. Chosen one, they are living scrolls, pages that breathe, illuminated by the fire of divine remembrance. Every act of faith you make, no matter how small, is recorded there. Every moment you chose to trust instead of doubt. Every quiet yes when no one was watching. Every time you whispered, I still believe it is all written. You may not see the ink, but heaven writes with light. Your story is glowing among the chronicles of the faithful. Angels revisit it often, tracing the lines of your perseverance and speaking your name with reverence. For your faith is not forgotten, it is recorded as prophecy fulfilled in motion. You have to know this truth. God never misses a single detail of your obedience. When you prayed through pain, He wrote it. When you forgave instead of retaliated, He inscribed it. When you chose to love despite rejection, He sealed it in glory. Every action born from faith echoes in eternity. You are not living unnoticed. You are leaving divine footprints across time. The prophet David once captured this mystery. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Think about that. Beloved, your tears are not lost to the ground. They are preserved in heaven's sanctuary, sacred as holy oil. God does not waste pain. He collects it, transforms it, redeems it. Every tear you've shed has become a seed of harvest, waiting for its appointed season. That is how detailed His love is toward you. So when you feel unseen, remember, heaven has a record, and that record speaks louder than human applause. It declares your loyalty when no one else recognized it. It testifies of your endurance when the world only saw exhaustion. It proves that your faith is real, your love authentic, your journey sacred. You may think your faith is fragile, but to heaven, it glows like unbreakable glass. Even when cracked, it reflects divine light. That is why you are still standing. The record of your faith defends you, even when your strength runs out. There will come a day when you will see these records. Heaven will open its archives, and pages will unfold, each filled with moments you thought were meaningless, but were actually monumental. The quiet prayers, the secret sacrifices, the times you obeyed without understanding, all of them have become part of the eternal story of redemption. When heaven looks at you, it does not see failure or delay. It sees testimony and progress. You are still being written. The ink of grace flows even now across your pages. This is why your present obedience matters so much. You are writing tomorrow's miracles with today's faith. What you choose to do in this moment, how you love, how you endure, how you trust will become tomorrow's record of glory. Heaven is watching, not with scrutiny but with affection, whispering, keep writing. Beloved, the story is beautiful. Sometimes the enemy tries to tell you that nothing you do makes a difference, but he lies because he fears your consistency. The record of your faith is his defeat notice. Every act of endurance proves that darkness lost again. And now, heaven invites you to respond, not for approval, but for remembrance. To leave a mark, a symbol, a sign that you acknowledge what heaven already knows: your faith is alive. As a prophetic act, type 333 inches, the comments below. 3 Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, representing divine unity and completeness. When you write it, you are saying, all that I am, I place in the hands of the triune God who keeps my record. It's not superstition, it's symbolism. You are echoing heaven's documentation with your earthly declaration. You're saying, I know heaven keeps my story, and I trust what's being written. When you type 333, Imagine the ink of light continuing across the pages of your destiny. The angels writing with renewed joy. The Father smiling as your name glows brighter on the scroll. This is not the end of your story. It is another line in a record that will never fade. Heaven keeps track. Beloved, heaven remembers. Heaven writes your faith in light, the weight you carried silently. Chosen one, has been heavier than most could bear. You've walked through days when even breathing felt like lifting a mountain. The world around you might not have seen it, but heaven did. Each sigh, each weary step, each forced smile was known by the one who never overlooks hidden pain. What others called ordinary exhaustion was, in truth, sacred endurance, a holy offering that reached God like incense in the night. There are seasons when God hides his strength inside your weakness. When he lets you walk through valleys, not to break you, but to build your depth. You've been misunderstood, even judged for being too quiet, too distant, too heavy in spirit. But that quiet wasn't withdrawal, it was survival. You were fighting invisible battles while pretending to be fine. And though you thought you were alone, angels stood around you, strengthening your soul with whispers only your spirit could feel. Sometimes, heaven entrusts its strongest missions to its softest hearts. That's why the weight felt personal. It was never punishment. It was preparation. You were being refined, not rejected. God was shaping you into someone who could carry compassion without collapsing under it. Empathy without emptiness. Love without losing yourself. There were nights when you cried without sound, afraid your breaking would disturb the peace around you. But in those silent tears, heaven heard the loudest worship. Every tear that fell carried your surrender. You were saying, without words, even here, I still trust you. The ancient words of faith capture this mystery. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned." You've lived those words. You've passed through waters that nearly swallowed you. You've walked through fire that should have consumed you. Yet here you are untouched at your core. Not because the journey was easy, but because God himself walked with you in it. What you carry is not weakness, it's wisdom born of weight. You've learned that endurance doesn't mean the absence of pain, it means refusing to let pain define you. The strength you built in silence is now your authority. Others may never know what it cost you to stand, but they will feel the power of your stability when they lean on you. Every burden you bore in secret was forming something eternal. Compassion grew where bitterness could have taken root. Patience deepened where anger could have hardened you. What was meant to crush you has only carved you into greater purpose. You became a vessel that can hold more of God's heart because you've known what it means to break. There's a sacred kind of anointing that comes only through pain, the kind that cannot be taught, only lived. You have it now. When you speak, people will hear healing between your words. When you touch lives, comfort will flow through your hands. The same God who carried you through weight will now use you to help others carry theirs. You might not see it yet, but every ache you endured has built capacity in you, capacity to love, to understand, to serve. Where others collapse under hardship, you will now stand as a pillar of quiet strength. You will be the one others come to when they can't find their footing. And when you comfort them, heaven will smile. Because that is how pain becomes purpose. The burden was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. You've discovered resilience you didn't know existed. Peace that defies explanation. Faith that doesn't require proof. That is what the fire forged in you. And even now, God whispers, I never wasted your suffering. Every ounce of it became strength. You are lighter now, not because the journey grew easier, but because you've grown stronger. What once crushed you now refines you. The very weight that once bent your back has become the foundation beneath your wings. Heaven calls this transformation glory. The invisible has been made visible in your endurance. You are living evidence that pain does not win that faith. Once rooted, can weather any storm. So lift your head, beloved. The load you carried has turned into light. The burden that bowed you low has made you bow only to grace. You've been faithful under pressure, and heaven has written your perseverance into its eternal melody. Even now, chosen one, the conversations about you continue in realms unseen. Heaven and darkness both know your name. Your endurance has become a subject of divine discussion, not because of fame, but because your quiet faith has disrupted the order of things invisible. Every time you stood when you could have fallen, you altered the spiritual atmosphere around you. The unseen world operates like a vast symphony, light and darkness responding to human choice. Most of the world is unaware of this invisible conversation, but you are part of it. Your faith produces sound in eternity. The very moment you decide to trust God instead of fear, that decision creates vibration in the heavens. Angels respond to it. Demons recoil from it. The universe itself seems to hold its breath. You may not feel significant, but the spirit realm knows you are. Every act of obedience sends ripples through eternity. Every time you choose mercy over bitterness, heaven expands its reach through you. You are not just a believer, you are an instrument of divine will, a vessel through which eternity touches time. The Apostle reminds us in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. You live this truth daily, even if you cannot see it. Your exhaustion is not always physical, it's the fatigue of spiritual resistance. You have been pushing back against forces designed to silence light, and yet you remain. That's why the darkness fears you, because it cannot comprehend how someone so wounded can still shine. Heaven takes joy in this mystery. Angels study you not out of curiosity, but out of admiration. They understand divine power, but they do not understand divine endurance in human form, that mixture of fragility and faith, of trembling and triumph. You carry something they cannot, redemption's fire burning inside a body that once knew brokenness. Even now, heavenly messengers speak of your steadfastness. They marvel at how you continue to believe, though you have not yet seen the full promise. You are the living evidence of what grace can accomplish in flesh. Your story is not just yours, it has become a sermon preached in the unseen courts of heaven. Do you remember the nights you thought you wouldn't make it, the prayers that felt like whispers into emptiness? Those weren't moments of weakness, they were testimonies forming in secret. The silence around you wasn't the absence of God, it was the stage being prepared for revelation. Heaven has been watching, waiting for the moment when your endurance would transform into authority. Now that moment is near. The spiritual conversation is shifting. What was once about your survival is now about your purpose. Heaven is no longer discussing if you'll make it, it's declaring what you will accomplish next. You've proven you can withstand pressure. Now you will learn to carry power. This is why some days feel heavier just before peace arrives. When heaven moves to elevate someone, the resistance intensifies. It's the trembling before breakthrough. Hell tries one last time to convince you that you're not ready, but heaven laughs because you already passed the test. The very weight that sought to bury you has become the platform on which your purpose stands. Understand this, you are not being prepared for comfort, but for impact. The anointing on your life carries the responsibility of transformation. You were chosen not just to survive darkness, but to reshape it. You are the proof that light doesn't avoid the shadows, it enters them and turns them holy. Every word you speak now carries weight. Every step you take shifts something unseen. When you encourage another soul, angels mark that moment. When you forgive, you dismantle structures of hatred built over generations. When you love the unlovable, you echo the voice of the Creator himself. You may wonder why this awareness comes now. It's because your maturity has reached fullness. Heaven reveals deeper mysteries only to those proven trustworthy with smaller truths. You've shown yourself faithful with pain. Now you will be trusted with power. You've shown humility in the valley. Now you'll carry wisdom on the mountain. Still, never forget that this is not a battle fought in noise, but in stillness. You don't need to shout to shake the heavens. Your quiet endurance is louder than any declaration. The universe bends around steadfast souls. The heavens respond to those who carry peace in war. In the spirit realm, you are known not by your title, but by your sound. Every soul emits a frequency: fear, pride, faith, love. Yours vibrates with steadfastness. That's why, when you pray, the atmosphere changes. That's why peace follows you even into chaos. You carry the sound of victory. Chosen one. You are not an observer in this divine dialogue. You are a participant, a witness, a messenger. The unseen realm watches, but you decide the tone of the story. Heaven has placed its confidence in your endurance, and now it releases its favor on your path. So walk with reverence today. The invisible world leans in to listen. Every breath you take speaks of victory already won. Every act of love declares that redemption is still unfolding. You are part of the eternal conversation between Creator and creation, and your faith is the language heaven never tires of hearing. Heaven remembers the moments you almost gave up. Chosen one. The times when your body was present, but your spirit was trembling under invisible weight. The world saw only your calm face, but heaven saw the battle behind your eyes. It saw when you stood on the edge of surrender and whispered instead, "I'll keep going." Those moments, though they looked small, became sacred. They were the turning points in the unseen war for your soul. You didn't need a crowd to cheer you on. You needed only courage to stand when everything inside you screamed, "Stop." That courage was not born from your strength, it was born from grace breathing through you. Heaven took note. Angels leaned closer. The very atmosphere around you recorded your resistance. Because when a chosen soul refuses to quit, even hell trembles. Every time you said, "I'll try again tomorrow," you declared war against despair. Every time you prayed when you didn't feel God, you shouted louder than thunder in the spiritual realm. You've faced exhaustion not of the body, but of the soul. Nights when hope seemed like a fading candle. Mornings when your heart beat only from habit. Yet, you stood. That is what separates the chosen from the ordinary, the refusal to let brokenness define destiny. There's something holy about perseverance. Heaven does not glorify the ones who never fall. It glorifies those who fall and rise anyway. You've been through storms that should have silenced your worship. Yet your spirit still sings. Sometimes the song is faint, but it exists, and that's enough for heaven to call it victory. The apostle wrote words that echo through every generation of believers. The voice of God thundered in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. Do not grow weary in doing good. In due season we will reap if we endure and do not quit. Those words belong to you now. You are living proof that weariness does not have the final word. Your tired hands have planted seeds that heaven promises to water. The season of harvest will come, not because you forced it, but because you endured long enough for it to arrive. When you almost gave up, heaven didn't condemn you, it covered you. God didn't judge your hesitation, He honored your persistence. Even when your prayers turned into silence, He was listening. Every tear you shed became liquid prayer, and He bottled each one with tender care. You may not realize it, but your story is inspiring others who are secretly struggling. Your endurance gives them permission to hope again. Somewhere, someone you've never met is standing today because you refused to fall yesterday. That is how divine influence works. It multiplies unseen. And now, as heaven continues to write your name in its scroll of the steadfast, I ask you to seal your declaration on earth, not for applause, not for recognition, but as a spiritual echo of what heaven already celebrates. Comment, I rise again. Type those 3 words below, because they are more than just a sentence. They are resurrection language. They carry weight in the spirit. When you declare them, you're not just typing, you are reaffirming heaven's narrative about you. You are saying, I may have been struck down, but I am not destroyed. My story continues. These words form alignment. They are like placing a spiritual signature on heaven's decree that your endurance is not in vain. When you write, I rise again, imagine your name shining brighter in the records of light. Imagine the same angels who watched you struggle now, rejoicing at your affirmation. Do not underestimate symbolic acts like this. They awaken the prophetic inside you. They turn faith into motion. The moment you declare those words, you participate in your own rising. You draw strength not from emotion, but from eternity. You've survived nights that once terrified you. You've faced fears that once controlled you. Now you stand not as a victim, but as a vessel of victory. The wounds remain, but they no longer define you, they testify for you. You have become living proof that faith always finds a way forward. Beloved, the worst is not your end, it was your beginning. The breaking became birthing. The despair became destiny. Every time you rose from the ashes, heaven wrote, still standing. So take this truth into your spirit. You are the proof that rising again is possible. Not once, not twice, but as many times as needed. For those who are chosen, defeat is only ever temporary. You rise again because heaven never stopped believing in you. Chosen one, there are eyes watching over every step you take, not eyes of judgment, but of divine affection. Each step you took today, though it may have seemed ordinary, was traced by heaven's gaze. Nothing you do in faith escapes the sight of God. He observes your footsteps the way a composer listens to music carefully, lovingly, attentive to every note. Your path may not look glamorous. Some days it winds through valleys of confusion and fogs of uncertainty. Yet heaven watches, whispering, "Keep walking." For each step is more than motion, it is worship in motion. Every time you keep going when you could have stopped. You are writing poetry on the earth that angels read aloud. You may not see the rhythm yet, but your journey is a divine melody in progress. There are moments when it sounds soft, almost lost beneath the noise of the world. But heaven hears it clearly, a song of steady faith. You've walked through places where others turned back. You've chosen the narrow road when the broad one offered comfort. That is why heaven calls you unshakable. Not because you never trembled, but because you kept walking even while trembling. Scripture speaks to this kind of divine attention, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 29. 2 sparrows cost only a penny, yet none falls to the ground outside the care of your Father. If God notices even the sparrow, how much more the steps of his chosen one you are seen, fully and constantly. Heaven's gaze never drifts. Even the smallest acts of obedience, an encouraging word, a quiet prayer, a patient breath are witnessed and cherished. Think of your life as a trail through sacred soil. Every footprint you leave is soaked with purpose. Others are following paths you don't know you've made. When you move forward, you make way for someone else to believe it's possible too. That is the hidden ministry of perseverance. It becomes a map for the lost. And though you may not hear applause, your footsteps echo in eternity. The sound of your endurance travels farther than any platform, louder than any stage. It reaches the weary, it comforts the forgotten, and it reminds the heavens that faith still walks among men. But even trailblazers need refreshment. A lamp must be refueled. A traveler must be strengthened, the same way a river keeps flowing because streams feed it. Your journey continues because hearts like yours keep pouring love into the mission. So, if this message has found a place in your heart, if you felt seen, understood, strengthened, then let your gratitude become movement. When you like this message, you are adding one more spark to the flame that warms others. When you share it, you open the door for someone standing at their breaking point to feel heaven whisper, "Keep going." And when you subscribe, it's not just a digital gesture, it's a declaration that you want to walk with others under the same light. You become part of a living river that keeps flowing with encouragement, day after day. And if your spirit feels stirred to donate, do it as an act of love, not obligation. Giving is never about money, it's about motion. It's like placing oil into the lamp so the flame doesn't flicker out. It's like giving bread to a traveler who still has miles to go. Every act of giving ensures that this message, this gentle light, keeps reaching others wandering in their own nights. Your support doesn't just maintain words, it sustains hope. It turns inspiration into continuity, moments into movements. Heaven counts generosity not in coins, but in compassion. Not in currency, but in courage. When you give, when you share, when you engage, you become co-authors in heaven's story. You make it possible for these words to find the next soul who's losing strength, for this light to travel beyond you. So, as you continue walking through today, remember Your steps are not small. Your reach is not limited. Every action, whether faith or kindness, becomes eternal when done in love. You are walking under the gaze of the divine composer, and your life is the melody he hums into existence. Keep walking in rhythm with heaven. Keep letting your faith write music that angels can dance to. And if this message has sung to something deep inside you, help the music travel. Like, share, subscribe, or give whatever heaven stirs in your heart. Because when you do, the song doesn't end with you. It grows, it echoes, it multiplies. Chosen one, your steps are seen, your faith is heard, and heaven's eyes follow every movement with love. You are no longer waiting for a sign. Chosen one, you have become the sign. What you carry now is not merely faith, but proof. You are living evidence that what God begins, He sustains. Heaven points to you as a living parable of endurance, a sermon written in skin and spirit. The world seeks miracles in the sky, but heaven finds them in people like you, souls who rise after being crushed, who keep loving after being broken, who still pray even when their voice trembles. That is the miracle of persistence, divinity revealed in human resilience. You have become that revelation. What others call survival, heaven calls testimony. You have turned storms into classrooms, and pain into wisdom. Every scar now carries sacred meaning. Each one tells a story of where the fire burned, but also where grace rebuilt. You are not the same person who once doubted your strength. You have walked through too many valleys to remain ordinary. You used to pray for God to show you a sign that He hadn't forgotten you. And yet, here you are, the answer to your own prayer. The fact that you're still here, still believing, still moving forward, is itself the sign you were seeking. The proof is not outside of you, it's within you. Heaven no longer needs to send signs to confirm your faith, because your life is the confirmation. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Ezekiel. Chapter 37, verse 5. This is what the sovereign Lord says to these bones: I will make breath enter you, and you will come to life. You have lived that scripture. God breathed into the places you thought were lifeless, where you once saw ruins. He whispered, restoration. You may not have noticed the exact moment life returned to you, but heaven did. It was when you forgave again, when you dreamed again, when you decided that what broke you would not define you. That breath, His breath, is still moving through you now. There's something extraordinary about people who've been shattered yet still shine. You are one of them. You've learned that true faith doesn't need perfect conditions. It grows in the cracks. You are the seed that sprouted through stone, the rose that bloomed in the ruins. And every time you walk into a room, the atmosphere shifts, because life recognizes life. You are not waiting for revival, you are revival. Wherever you go, hope stirs. You may not see it, but your presence awakens something in others. Your endurance has become a permission slip for them to believe again. That is why the enemy fought you so hard, because your restoration would inspire others. But now that you've crossed through the fire, you carry something hell cannot touch. Your resilience has become an inheritance for others. What you learned in silence will become someone else's survival song. Heaven doesn't waste pain. Every tear you cried became a seed planted in eternity. And now it grows into trees of healing for those who will walk your path after you. You are not just healed, you are a healer in disguise. not because you fix others, but because your presence proves that broken things can still be beautiful. Understand this deeply. Being the sign means carrying both glory and weight. Signs are not made to be hidden, they are meant to be seen. God will begin placing you in spaces where your story will shine. Not for your fame, but for His faithfulness. You are the living message He wants the world to read. You may feel unqualified, but that's what makes your witness pure. You are not a performer of perfection. You are a vessel of authenticity. People don't need flawless, they need real. And you, chosen one, are as real as grace gets. So don't shrink back. Don't apologize for the light that now radiates from you. You didn't earn it, it was forged in trial. Every ounce of your strength was shaped by surrender. You've carried heaven's breath long enough in silence. Now it's time for that breath to speak through you. When others look for proof that God still restores, they will find it in your eyes. The same light that once dimmed with pain now glows with purpose. You are the sign that resurrection is not an event, it's a lifestyle. Every new day you live with gratitude is another miracle unfolding. Even your stillness is prophetic now. Just by existing in alignment with faith, you remind creation that redemption is still possible. Your life preaches without words, grace wins. Always. The sign has already been given. It's you, the one who refused to stay buried, the one who believed again after being forgotten, the one who found purpose in ashes. Heaven does not need to prove itself any further. It points to you and says, "Look, they live. You, chosen one, are the living scripture, the word of endurance made flesh. The miracle others are praying for is already walking among them, breathing, shining, believing." And as you continue forward, remember, you are not chasing signs anymore. You are leaving them behind wherever you go. Chosen one, the ripple of your faith moves farther than you can imagine. When you chose to believe, even in pain, the vibration of that decision spread across the unseen world. It traveled beyond your house, beyond your city, beyond this moment in time. Faith does not remain still, it ripples. Every prayer you've whispered has become a wave of power that touches places you may never see. Every act of kindness, every word of hope, every choice to forgive has sent light flowing through invisible channels of eternity. You've set spiritual motion in place, ripple after ripple, wave after wave. Your life is like a stone cast into a still lake. You may only see the first ring, but heaven sees the full pattern expanding outward. What feels small to you, one simple prayer, one moment of trust, is multiplied in dimensions you cannot yet perceive. The person you encouraged might encourage 10 more. The faith you carry might awaken hundreds. That's how divine mathematics works. This is why your endurance matters so deeply. Faith is never just personal, it's generational. Your strength becomes someone else's foundation. Your persistence becomes another's prophecy. Your story becomes a road others can walk safely upon. There are people right now unknown to you who are watching from the distance of their own darkness. They see your light. And though you may not hear them, they whisper, "If they can keep believing, maybe I can too." You are teaching faith without realizing it. The Apostle Paul once wrote words that mirror this truth. The ancient words recorded in the book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, "Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." You are the continuation of that good work. What began in tears will end in triumph. The same God who planted your beginning will finish your becoming. The light that flickered in your lowest moments has now grown steady, strong enough to guide others. Do not underestimate what happens when you simply stand. Faith has movement even when your feet don't. Heaven uses your stability as a foundation upon which others can build. You may not see the ripple now, but you will one day look back and realize how many lives were shifted by your stillness. There are stories unfolding because you endured. Relationships are healing. Destinies are awakening. And hearts are softening because your faith stayed alive. You became a transmitter of courage in a weary generation. The ripple of your endurance travels farther than your name ever will. You are not just surviving, you are sowing invisible seeds. Every moment you choose truth over bitterness, peace over panic, you plant something eternal. These seeds do not wither, they mature in God's timing. Some of them will bloom long after you've moved on, and their fragrance will tell the world. A chosen one once walked here. This is why your journey matters. It's not only about what happens to you, but what happens through you. You are not the end of God's work, you are the beginning of someone else's. The faith that sustained you will sustain others through your example. Heaven is calling this the season of continuation. What you've endured was never meant to end in isolation, it was designed to multiply. The light you protect now becomes legacy later. You are building a spiritual inheritance, not of wealth, but of wisdom and worship. Some may never know your name, but they will live in the glow of your obedience. They will be strengthened by prayers you've already prayed, rescued by words you've already spoken, lifted by choices you made long before they arrived. This is the power of divine ripple. It does not stop with one wave. Heaven multiplies momentum. The small faith that started in your heart becomes revival in someone else's. What began as survival will end as overflow. Now, beloved, to mark this sacred moment, to align your spirit with the flow of heaven's movement, leave a symbol in the space below. Comment 444. Type that number as a prophetic act. 4. The number of creation, of balance, of divine order multiplied. It represents the corners of the earth, the winds, the seasons, the completeness of purpose. When you write 444, you are declaring, "My faith will ripple in every direction. My life will touch what I cannot see." You are not just commenting, you are confirming. You are aligning with heaven's multiplication of faith. That number becomes your declaration that what began in you will not end with you. As you do this, imagine the ripple spreading again through hearts, through homes, through time itself. See the light you carry moving outward, reaching others who thought they were forgotten, restoring those who had nearly given up. That is the power of agreement between heaven and earth. You have become the echo of endurance, the pulse of persistence, the living rhythm of redemption. The waves of your faith are still moving even now, and they will not stop until every shore has felt the touch of your obedience. Chosen one, the ripple of your faith is eternal. You have set movement in motion, and heaven smiles upon every wave that carries your name. Chosen one, heaven calls you crowned by endurance. What others see as survival, heaven names as sovereignty, because the crown you now wear was not given lightly. It was forged through the fire of persistence, shaped by storms, polished by tears. You have not merely endured, you have reigned through endurance. This crown cannot be seen by human eyes, but the spirit world recognizes it instantly. It gleams with the light of unyielding faith, and its radiance announces, "This one has been proven." You did not inherit it through ease or favor. You earned it through faithfulness when faith was hardest. There is a majesty in those who refuse to quit. It is a quiet, regal authority that comes from having walked through darkness and learned how to carry light without arrogance. You know what it means to be pressed, to be emptied, and to be filled again. You've learned that true strength is never loud, it's steady. True royalty doesn't need to announce itself. It walks with calm certainty born of experience. You've been through a long process of refinement. The fire that once frightened you has now become familiar. You understand its purpose. Fire was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to define you. Each flame that touched your soul burned away what was temporary, leaving behind only what was eternal. That's why you shine differently now. The same heat that broke others has only revealed your purity. The prophet wrote of such transformation. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. You, beloved, are walking in that promise. The crown of life is not an ornament, it is a revelation. It means that death could not claim your hope. It means despair failed to bury your faith. It means that what was meant to end you instead enthroned you. You are wearing invisible victory. Sometimes you still feel ordinary, unaware of the glory resting upon you. That is the humility of those who have walked through refining seasons. You don't boast about your strength because you know who gave it. You don't flaunt your scars because they remind you of grace. You carry authority quietly. And that is why heaven trusts you with more. Every trial you've overcome has placed another jewel in your crown. The betrayal that once broke you has become a diamond of discernment. The rejection that once hurt you has turned into a gem of wisdom. The loneliness that once hollowed you out has become a space for compassion. You are a mosaic of every moment God redeemed. When you walk, the unseen realm notices the sound of that crown. It is not made of gold, but of faith. Each step of endurance rings like metal striking stone. Heaven hears it and celebrates. Darkness hears it and retreats. You are no longer a target of pity. You are a symbol of perseverance. Wear your crown with quiet strength, not pride. For every crown in heaven is both glory and responsibility. You are called to stand tall, but also to kneel deeply, to carry the authority of experience without forgetting the tenderness of mercy. Those who wear crowns must remember how it felt to crawl, because that memory keeps them kind. And you, chosen one, have kept your tenderness intact. You emerged from storms without bitterness, from disappointment without cynicism. That is the mark of divine royalty. The world's crowns come from conquest. Heaven's crowns come from compassion. There will be moments ahead when people see something different in you but cannot name it. They will feel peace near you, feel courage rise in them, and not understand why. That is the light of your crown. It influences without forcing. You've become an atmosphere of stability. You walk into chaos and things begin to settle. You stand in confusion and clarity follows. That is the power of endurance matured into grace. You may think of yourself as ordinary, but eternity disagrees. Heaven looks at you and sees one who has reigned through trials, You've mastered patience where others panicked. You've chosen worship where others cursed. You've believed even when belief cost you everything. That is why you wear the crown of life. This crown does not fade. It cannot rust. And no power in hell can steal it. It is the mark of divine favor resting permanently upon your spirit. You will not always feel its weight, but the world around you will feel its influence. There is still more ahead. The journey does not end at crowning, it begins anew. For those crowned by endurance are called to lead others into the same light. You will guide, teach, and strengthen those who are still learning to walk through their own fire. Your crown is not a trophy, it is a torch. Carry it high, not to draw attention to yourself, but to illuminate the path for others. The light that once guided you through darkness now radiates through you. Wherever you go, darkness will have to retreat, because crowned ones carry authority that cannot be denied. Chosen one, you may not realize it, but you've already stepped into royalty. You wear heaven's emblem. You've been tested, tried, and found faithful. The fire didn't take you, it crowned you. And as you walk forward, remember, the weight you feel is not burden, it is glory. The heaviness is not exhaustion, it is anointing. You are crowned not for what you've avoided, but for what you've overcome. Lift your head. Bearer of the unseen crown, you have reigned in resilience, and heaven calls your endurance majestic. Chosen one, the enemy trembles now. Your endurance has exposed his limitations. He once believed he could bend you, that if he piled enough weight upon your shoulders, you would finally collapse. But instead, you have become immovable. You have turned pain into prophecy, and the darkness no longer knows how to fight you. You have become unpredictable to the enemy because you no longer respond with fear, you respond with faith. He planned your silence, but you began to sing. He planned your ruin, but you built altars from the rubble. He planned your exhaustion, but you learned to rest in God instead of quitting. Every weapon forged against you has lost its sharpness because endurance has dulled their edge. The enemy no longer sees a victim. When he looks at you, he sees resistance made flesh. You are not unaware of the battle, yet you stand as one who understands the laws of victory. You've learned that warfare is not always noise and chaos. Sometimes it's peace that wins. You disarmed the enemy when you refused to hate. You weakened him when you chose forgiveness. You broke his ranks when you worshipped instead of worrying. The ancient truth speaks clearly of this strength. It was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, says the Lord." You are walking in that heritage now. The enemy formed weapons, yes, but they malfunctioned in your presence. They could not penetrate the covering forged by your faith. Each time he tried to harm you, heaven turned his schemes into soil for your next season of growth. The very ground the enemy hoped would bury you has become the platform of your rising. Darkness thrives on reaction, it feeds on panic and despair. But when you remain calm, when you choose peace while everything shakes, you starve it. You've learned that your stillness is strategy. Silence, when filled with faith, is louder than shouting. That is why the enemy hates your composure, because it mirrors heaven's authority. You are no longer fighting for victory. You are standing from victory. The war is not about whether you will win, it's about whether you'll recognize that you already have. The cross settled the outcome long before your battle began. You are simply walking out what has already been decreed. The enemy's panic is not random, it's reactionary. He sees the glow around you, the spiritual authority that radiates from your endurance. He knows he has lost his hold. And like a retreating army, he tries one last time to create chaos before being silenced completely. But his chaos cannot unmake your covenant. Every accusation, every whisper of doubt, every shadow that tries to follow you is now powerless. They fall before you, not because of who you are, but because of the one who walks within you. You carry divine presence, and darkness cannot coexist with that light. When you enter a room, peace follows not as a feeling, but as an occupying force. You have reached a place of spiritual maturity where attack no longer means defeat. You've learned to interpret opposition as confirmation. The greater the pressure, the greater the promise being prepared, the greater the warfare, the greater the weight of glory about to be revealed. That's why you can stand calmly while others panic. You understand the pattern of divine reversal. The enemy panics because you've stopped reacting. You no longer live from the wounds of your past. You live from the wisdom they produced. You've stopped questioning your worth and started walking in your assignment. You've stopped trying to prove your purity and started manifesting your purpose. What once frightened you now fuels you. The very storms that once broke your heart now remind you how strong your roots have grown. You know that peace isn't the absence of battle, it's the presence of God in the middle of it. You carry that presence, and that's why the atmosphere changes around you. Even the enemy knows now he cannot predict your next move, because you are led by the Spirit, not emotion. You are beyond manipulation, beyond intimidation, beyond fear. That's the true victory, freedom from reaction, freedom from despair. Heaven looks at you and smiles because you have finally discovered your authority. The power of God within you no longer flickers, it burns steady. You've become a living altar, flame and foundation combined. Every breath you take declares that the kingdom of darkness has failed to extinguish the light. There will still be battles, yes, but none like before. These are not trials meant to break you, they are assignments meant to reveal what you carry. You will move through conflict with grace, through opposition with wisdom. You've already learned the secret. God does not remove every storm. He teaches his chosen to walk on water through it. So when the enemy panics, smile quietly. His trembling is proof that you've stepped into authority. You are not who you were. You are the aftermath of victory, the embodiment of divine endurance. Chosen one. The battlefield that once terrified you has become your territory. The sword that once wounded you now rests in your hand. And as heaven watches, the darkness bows not to you, but to the glory that walks with you. Heaven applauds you. Chosen one. The sound is not thunderous, it is gentle, like wind moving through golden fields. It's the kind of applause that only souls refined by fire can hear, soft, sacred, and sincere. You have reached a moment when heaven itself celebrates your endurance. Angels do not stand at attention because of titles or fame. They rise for faith that refuses to die. And today, they rise for you. There is joy in heaven every time one of God's children completes a cycle of testing and emerges still radiant. You are that joy right now. You are the living melody of triumph. Every obstacle that tried to break you has become part of the harmony heaven now sings. You've proven that faith doesn't just survive storms, it turns storms into symphonies. Look at yourself now. You may still carry scars, but they no longer speak of pain, they speak of passage. You've traveled through valleys that others feared to enter, and you've returned carrying wisdom. That wisdom is what heaven now calls glory. The apostle reminds us in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "Our troubles are light and momentary now, but they prepare eternal glory far outweighing all we suffer." You have lived those words. What once felt like endless struggle has become seed for eternal weight glory, pressing outward from within you. Every burden has birthed new brilliance. Every sorrow has been alchemized into strength. You did not lose anything of eternal value. You gained depth, patience, and divine perspective. Now, in this sacred pause, heaven invites you to breathe, to recognize how far you've come. Think of your life as a lighthouse built on a cliff. Each stone in its foundation was once a moment of struggle. Every brick represents a tear turned into testimony. The waves have battered it, but it still stands. And each night, it sends out light to guide ships home. That's what your faith has become, a constant beacon in a world that has forgotten direction. But even lighthouses need tending. The flame inside must be refueled. The glass must be kept clean. The structure maintained. In the same way, the work we do together, the spreading of light, the carrying of truth, the building of encouragement needs your hands, your heart, your help. When you like this message, it's as though you're polishing the lens of the lighthouse, helping the light reach a little farther. When you share, you become the wind that carries hope to another coast, where someone waits, searching the horizon for guidance. And when you subscribe, you're not just staying connected, you're stepping into the circle of those who keep the flame alive together. And yes, when you donate, it isn't a transaction, it's transformation. You're pouring oil into the lamp so that the light never goes out. You're part of something larger than you, an ongoing story of grace in motion. The smallest act of giving becomes like a drop of water that ripples endlessly, touching shores you will never see. Every time a word from heaven reaches someone weary and forgotten, every time a broken soul lifts their head again, you are part of that miracle. That's what your support does. It builds bridges of light between hearts, one message at a time. Think of this message as a garden. The words are seeds, planted in soil prepared by prayer. But gardens do not grow without care. They need sunlight, water, and faithful hands to tend them. Your engagement, your listening, your sharing, your generosity is the rain that keeps the flowers blooming for those who come after you. When you interact, you are not merely reacting, you are participating. You are saying, "I believe this light should continue to shine." You become part of heaven's echo in the earth, extending grace where algorithms fail to reach. If this message touched your spirit, if it reminded you that heaven still moves through words, then leave your reflection below. Comment what you feel, maybe gratitude, maybe peace, maybe just an amen. Every word you share becomes a spark of connection for someone else wandering through darkness, searching for a reason to believe again. Your presence here matters more than you realize. You are part of the heartbeat that keeps this mission alive. The words travel because hearts like yours choose to keep them moving. So, as heaven applauds, as light continues to flow from this message into countless unseen places. Know this, you are both the receiver and the giver of grace. You are both lighthouse and keeper, both messenger and message. Let your like be your light, your share be your song, your comment be your confirmation, and your donation be your declaration that the flame must never fade. Together, we carry the voice of heaven farther than any of us could alone. And remember, heaven is still clapping, softly but endlessly. Every time you believe again, chosen one, you have entered the realm of confirmation. Heaven is speaking softly but clearly, declaring that your faith has not gone unnoticed. Every hidden act of trust has been tallied, every whisper of hope counted. The time of silence was never abandonment, it was observation. God has watched, measured, and now confirms your obedience this morning, your steadfastness through the long seasons, your continued surrender. They have reached his heart. What you sense now is not imagination, it is validation. The very air around you carries quiet agreement with heaven's decree. You may not hear trumpets or see flashes of light, but the confirmation is unfolding in subtle ways, doors that begin to open, peace that replaces confusion, favor that seems to follow you gently wherever you go. These are heaven's signatures, signs not of coincidence, but of covenant. God has been aligning circumstances behind the scenes, preparing outcomes before you ever prayed for them. What looked like delay was careful timing. What felt like distance was divine precision. Every no you faced was heaven's way of protecting your yes. And now the rhythm of your life is shifting. What was once uphill becomes level. What was once heavy grows lighter. The Apostle Paul wrote of this sacred assurance. It was proclaimed in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. In all things God is working for the good of those who love him and are called to his purpose. Those words now live inside your story. Every disappointment, every closed door, every detour, they were never destruction, only direction. The things that once confused you are aligning into harmony. You are beginning to see how each struggle was a piece of divine architecture, shaping your destiny into something only heaven could design. You may not even realize the depth of what you've endured. To you, it was survival. To heaven, it was consecration. Through each heartbreak and each surrender, your heart was molded to mirror his. You have been prepared not just to receive promises, but to protect them. What comes next is not random favor, it is the natural outpouring of divine confirmation. God is confirming your growth. He is confirming that the lessons you learned in silence were not wasted. You've discovered what few ever do, that faith matures in stillness, not in noise. You learn to recognize his presence without visible signs, to follow his whisper instead of his thunder. That quiet strength has now become your compass. In the days ahead, expect subtle shifts, peace where there used to be panic, sudden clarity in places of confusion, divine coincidences that line up too perfectly to be chance. These are the fingerprints of confirmation. Heaven's approval rarely arrives with spectacle. It comes with steady assurance that nothing can shake. This is why your obedience matters so deeply. You are no longer walking by uncertain faith, but by proven faith. Every step you take now leaves footprints of divine order. The road before you is being cleared, not because the struggle is over, but because the season of recognition has begun. The trials that once defined you are now behind you. and the confirmation of God's pleasure rests upon your path. Think of a tree that has endured countless storms. Its roots run deep, unseen, quietly growing stronger beneath the surface. Then one day, after years of enduring wind and rain, fruit begins to appear, not because the tree tried harder, but because its roots were ready. That is where you are now. The fruit is coming not from striving, but from stability. Your life has become an orchard of proof. Everything that once felt barren now begins to bud. Your peace, your patience, your wisdom, they are the fruit of endurance. And those who encounter you will taste that fruit and know that God is real. That's what confirmation looks like, not always miracles, but maturity. Heaven is saying, "You have been faithful with little, now I will trust you with more." It's not a reward, it's recognition. God is confirming the authenticity of what He's built inside you. You are ready for more because you have become more. Even your stillness now is a statement. You no longer chase signs, signs follow you. You no longer plead for purpose, you walk in it. You no longer fear the unknown, you rest in divine certainty. That is the essence of confirmation. It transforms restlessness into resolve. So take heart. Beloved, the season of proving has given way to the season of fulfillment. You don't need to strive for recognition. Heaven has already declared it. You are approved, affirmed, and anointed for what comes next. Walk forward gently, not in hurry but in harmony, knowing the heavens have already spoken your name with favor. What you built through pain will now stand in peace. The same faith that once survived the storm now reigns beneath clear skies. You are the proof, chosen one, the living evidence that faith still moves heaven and earth. The air around you carries the fragrance of battles fought and won in silence. Every scar you bear glows faintly in the spirit realm, not as wounds but as witnesses. You have become the story heaven tells to remind creation that light never loses. From the first morning, you chose to rise until this very moment. Your journey has been a masterpiece of endurance. You have walked through valleys where the sun refused to shine, yet your spirit kept its flame alive. You have learned that true faith doesn't demand comfort, it creates it. You no longer chase peace, you carry it within you like an unquenchable fire. The prophet David once wrote of such faith. We are reminded through the book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 32, "It is God who arms me with strength and keeps my way secure." Those words describe you now. You have been armed, not with arrogance or armor of pride, but with the quiet, radiant strength of those who trust completely. Your way has been kept, perhaps not free from pain, but guarded from destruction. What once felt like chaos was divine choreography. And now the pattern reveals itself with startling beauty. Heaven looks at you and sees completion, not perfection. For the chosen are not flawless, they are faithful. You have stumbled, doubted, wept, and questioned. Yet, through it all, you kept your heart pointed toward the light. That is the mark of the unshakable. Faith that trembles but never turns away. Hope that flickers but never dies. Now, as heaven's gaze rests upon you, the verdict is spoken. You are proof that faith works. You are proof that surrender does not lead to loss but to life. You are proof that grace is stronger than guilt, that destiny always outlasts delay. Everything you endured had purpose. Every unanswered prayer, every quiet night, Every unseen act of obedience, it all built the structure of your spirit. The walls of doubt you once faced have now become pillars of wisdom. The heartbreak that once tore you open has become the chamber where compassion dwells. You are no longer defined by what broke you, but by what bloomed inside you afterward. You are the tree that stood through 1,000 storms, roots gripping the unseen word of God. You are the survivor who learned to thrive, the wounded who learned to heal others. You carry the authority of one who knows both pain and resurrection. And everywhere you go, creation recognizes you. The ground under your feet knows the sound of someone who has walked with heaven. The days ahead will not be free from challenge, but they will not shake you as before. You have become unshakable, not because life grew easier, but because your heart grew anchored. You know now that storms cannot destroy what is rooted in eternity. You understand that even endings are disguised beginnings. You see through the fog because you've walked through darker nights and found dawn waiting faithfully each time. Heaven does not look at you with pity, it looks with pride. The Father whispers, "This one knows me." Angels remember your endurance the way soldiers remember battle victories. You have lived through what many only preach about, the mystery of grace that holds even when faith feels fragile. There is peace in this realization. You no longer need to prove yourself. The proof has already been lived. You are no longer striving to earn divine favor, you are walking in it. The rhythm of your life now moves in harmony with heaven's heartbeat. Every breath you take affirms the truth that God's promises do not fail. Look around you now. The same world that once rejected you is softer because of you. The same hearts that once misunderstood you are being healed through your example. You are the continuation of every promise fulfilled through patience. You are the living sermon that love always finds a way. And though the journey will continue, you are no longer merely a traveler, you are a torchbearer. The flame within you burns with purpose. Passed from heaven's altar to your soul, you are meant to carry it forward, to illuminate paths for those still wandering in shadow. Chosen one, the heavens have finished their declaration. You are the proof. You are the testimony written not in ink, but in endurance. Not in pages, but in presence. The world may never fully understand the cost of your faith, but heaven will never forget it. Stand tall now. You have crossed the threshold from tested to trusted, from broken to built, from survivor to sign. You are the evidence that faith real. Relentless faith still moves mountains and softens hearts. Heaven sees you. Earth feels you. Eternity remembers you. You are the proof. Always have been. Always will be. Beloved chosen one, the journey we have walked together has reached its pause, but not its end. Heaven's story through you is still being written with every breath you take, every act of love you release, every spark of faith you protect. The words you have read are not just lessons, they are mirrors, showing you who you have become: light, steady and unstoppable. Pause for a moment. Feel the quiet strength in your chest, the peace that sits beneath your ribs. That is heaven's seal upon you. You are living proof that endurance births beauty, that faith reshapes destiny, that divine love still moves in this generation. And now, as this message closes, let it not stay confined to your screen. Let it travel. Let it breathe. When you like this message, you're not simply clicking, you are releasing agreement into the atmosphere. You're saying, "Yes, I receive this truth." When you share, You become the messenger, letting heaven's echo reach another weary heart that needs to remember their strength. If the words here have stirred something deep within you, comment what you feel. Maybe one word: peace, gratitude, faith, or simply, I receive. Those words ripple far beyond sight. They remind others that faith is alive and still contagious. And when you subscribe, it's not about numbers, it's about connection. It means choosing to stay within the circle of light, walking with those who speak the same language of hope. Together, we build not a following, but a fellowship, souls linked by purpose, guided by the same divine flame. Carry this message with you. Let your life be its continuation. Heaven began this work, and heaven will sustain it.